Well, now we can officially talk about it. United States President Donald Trump will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin on August 15 in Alaska to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. This information has been officially confirmed by Donald Trump and Kremlin representatives. It is still unclear whether Zelensky will join this meeting, but there are already signs that Trump is making huge concessions to Putin and is essentially pushing Ukraine to surrender territory. Moreover, Trump has already stated that Zelensky will have to sign something to end the war, even if it is not beneficial for Ukraine. And Zelensky has already responded irritably that Ukraine will not allow any surrender of territory, no matter what Trump agrees on with Putin. In this episode, we will discuss what Trump and Putin have agreed on behind the backs of Ukraine and Europe, when and where the Trump-Putin meeting will take place, and what is actually known about it. My name is Alexei Pechi. Today is August 9th. Let's go through everything step by step. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, like the video, leave any comment, and be sure to subscribe to my Telegram channel, Peachy News. The link to it is in the description of this video. So, recently, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, made an important statement. The President of the United States will meet with the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, on August 15 in Alaska to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. He made this statement after announcing that the parties, including the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, are close to a ceasefire agreement that could resolve the conflict and may require significant territorial concessions from Ukraine. And so, speaking to reporters at the White House on Friday evening, Trump suggested that the agreement would include a land swap. Quote, "There will be some kind of land swap for the betterment of both sides." Well, in addition to that, there were also a few other strange statements from Trump. According to him, the issue of land swaps between Ukraine and Russia is complicated, but it will benefit both sides. Although it was unclear until the very end exactly what kind of land swap was being discussed. And the paradox is that there can be no real exchange, since Ukraine does not actually control any Russian territory. Therefore, when Trump talks about an alleged exchange, he means that Ukraine would simply give up part of its territories, and the whole so-called exchange is just bargaining exclusively with Ukrainian land. Moreover, Trump stated, and I quote, "European leaders want peace. I believe Putin wants peace, and Zelensky also wants peace now." But here Trump is wrong, because Zelensky said on Saturday that Ukraine cannot violate its constitution, and Ukrainians will not give away their land. "We want peace, we are ready for peace, and we strive for it, but not in the way that Trump is suggesting to us now." In fact, Zelensky rejected Trump's idea to hand over rather than exchange Ukrainian territories to Russia in exchange for a so-called peace agreement with the Kremlin. Zelensky reiterated on his Telegram channel that Ukraine's constitution has already settled the territorial issue. He added, "No one will back down from this, nor will anyone be able to. Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier." Then Zelensky emphasized that Ukrainians are defending their land and do not intend to reward Russia for the crimes it has committed, unlike Donald Trump. Quote, "The Ukrainian people deserve peace, but all partners must understand what a just peace is. Russia started the war, and Russia must end it, but instead, Moscow is prolonging the conflict, ignoring all deadlines. And this is exactly the problem, not something else." Volodymyr Zelensky also once again spoke out against decisions that would be made against Ukraine or without Ukraine. Quote, "Any decisions that are against us, any decisions that are made without Ukraine are being decided at the same time." Zelensky emphasized Kiev's readiness to work together with President Trump, together with all partners, for the sake of real and, most importantly, lasting peace. And these statements by Zelensky came against the backdrop of publications in foreign media about possible settlement options. Bloomberg, for example, previously reported that Vladimir Putin, as part of a peace agreement, is demanding that Ukraine give up parts of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, as well as Crimea. In the Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions, according to the agency, the Kremlin is proposing to freeze the situation along the current front line. The Wall Street Journal wrote that on August 6, Vladimir Putin told the United States President's special representative, Steve Witkoff, that he would agree to a ceasefire on the condition that all Ukrainian troops withdraw from the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. However, sources from Bild claim that Vladimir Putin still insists on full control not only over Donetsk and Luhansk, but also over Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions. At the same time, as the publication writes, Moscow's proposals mentioned only a partial, not a complete ceasefire. Bild sources also point out that Witkov misinterpreted Vladimir Putin's words. He took the demand for a peaceful withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from Kherson and Zaporizhzhia as a proposal to withdraw Russian troops from there. United States President Donald Trump previously stated that Volodymyr Zelensky would have to sign something, and claimed that both Zelensky and Putin want peace. Well, as Trump says, now President Zelensky has to get everything he needs. He will have to be ready to sign something. Well, and moving on, Trump admitted, however, that the options being discussed are complicated and may include territorial exchanges. He did not specify which territories the United States president had in mind. The Kremlin has confirmed that Trump and Putin will meet in Alaska on August 15th. And according to Putin's aide, Yuri Ushakov, the leaders of Russia and the United States, quote, will focus on discussing options for achieving a long-term peaceful settlement of the Ukrainian crisis. It will apparently be a difficult process, but we will be actively and intensively working on it. But, it seems that Trump is, as they say, left one-on-one with Putin in his desire to simply force Ukraine to capitulate. Earlier, Trump claimed that supposedly Europe and Zelensky had already agreed to the Russian peace proposal, but as we can see, Zelensky is categorically against it. But the Europeans aren't happy either. High-ranking officials from the United States, Ukraine, and several European countries plan to gather in the United Kingdom this weekend to develop a joint position ahead of the expected face-to-face meeting between Trump and Putin. The goal of the meeting is to reduce the risk that Washington will agree to a Moscow-proposed ceasefire without considering the interests of Kyiv and its European partners. And it's important that it was the Europeans who initiated this meeting, as they are completely shocked by Trump's willingness to abandon Ukraine. It is already known that Europe and Ukraine have put forward their own peace proposal. It's quite simple. First a ceasefire, and then any discussions at all. The key point is Ukraine's accession to NATO as a security guarantee. Well, and as Cable News Network writes, today's meeting between Trump and Putin in Alaska is a slow defeat for Ukraine. Cable News Network reports the upcoming Alaska summit conditions favor Moscow. According to Special Envoy Witkov's proposed plan, Ukraine must withdraw its troops from the remaining parts of Donetsk and Luhansk regions in exchange for a supposed ceasefire. Let me emphasize, supposed ceasefire. Zelensky has rejected territorial concessions, but analysts warn this format risks Ukraine losing key cities without a fight. Europe fears a repeat of the ceasefire scenarios that the Kremlin used to regroup its forces. At the same time, as Cable News Network notes, Putin is receiving his first official visit to the United States in a decade. The opportunity to discuss peace without Ukraine's participation and the chance to gain new territories without firing a single shot. So it's important for Europeans to show their solidarity with Zelensky now, so that Trump doesn't abandon us completely. Besides, this meeting with Trump will be a huge victory for the Russian dictator, even if Trump thinks it demonstrates his own strength. The United States is not a member of the International Criminal Court, so Putin is not at risk of being arrested. But for the visit to take place, the United States Treasury Department will apparently also have to lift sanctions from the Kremlin dictator. And this points to one of the reasons why Putin agreed to the summit in Alaska. Instead of imposing new sanctions against Russia, as Trump threatened in recent days, the United States will be lifting these sanctions. And even if it's temporary, it will be extremely symbolic and will be a huge victory for Moscow. In addition, as a result of the meeting, Putin will get what he wants, the opportunity to divide the territory of Ukraine without Kyiv's participation. And that's another reason why Putin would agree to the summit, regardless of where it's held. Because this is a real opportunity to achieve Putin's goals, not Trump's, not Ukraine's, not Europe's, but specifically Putin's. And unfortunately, Trump is behaving terribly again. There's a threat that he will go on to claim that it's Zelensky who's preventing peace once again. It's odd when Trump mentions exchanging territories, it's unclear who would be exchanging what with whom. We're talking about Ukrainian territories. So Trump is saying exchange Ukrainian territories and everything will be fine. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments under this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. That's all for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.